When last we left our intrepid adventurers, what was last? Oh yes,
You stabbed
we had,
Corblin to death.
Yes, we stabbed him in the face over and over again with a spear.
And then we put the soul-sucking abomination into reverse.
Yeah,
And
that's a
fix
rude
things.
way of referring to serendipity. Uh,
You didn't say her whole name.
It's
I'm
gotten
disappointed.
even longer. I've actually forgotten she forgot what the new one was because we had a bit of a hiatus between sessions, and she had given herself a new name after she sucked the souls out of all the Warforged of the world. Well, not all of them, but most of them.
Serendipity von Goldstrider Malor, Toppler of Towers, Shepherd of Souls, Strider through Time,
Doom
Delayer.
Slayer the Butcher of Bracken Ridge is in there again,
Right.
But we missed that.
Salvation of Children,
Salvation of
Star-Lord, End of the End.
And then this new one about...
And most interesting TED Talk of 2017.
Yeah.
Something about redemption, I think, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Redeemer of Souls or something.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Anyway. So yeah, at the end of last session, we basically thwarted, the Obelisk's plan to build a utopia on the foundation of corpses. And so then we were trying to find the actual stronghold of the Obelisk to go and confront it.
Right.
So anyway, we're hunting for the main stronghold of the Obelisk.
So just to catch you guys up, the Obelisk is this big magical computer, I guess. And the short version is that it has this thing called the Destiny Prognostication Engine, which the party doesn't know about, we know about it from world building, that can see an ideal future. But it realized there was a bug in its program, and the only way now to get to an ideal future is to start over. So its goal is to kill everything and everyone, and then start over so it can build a perfect utopian future. But they want to stop it.
It forgot to have a semicolon. There was a bug.
There was a
You gotta
bug.
read them.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with its basic idea of let's make a utopia. I just
It's just
think,
its methods.
yeah, it has failed to seeing the forest instead of the trees.
So they've been doing stuff, and they've now tracked it to. Actually, the session started. They're in this desert, and there's this big butte, and on top of the butte is this big fortress, and it's.
Did anyone say, "Hi, that's a beauty"?
No.
No, we didn't.
You failed in punnery.
Tales are being told.
So, the fortress, there were still some Warforged around because we only destroyed the ones that had been created since with the device.
Which is probably 9/10 of them, but they still have enough to man the fortress because it was built before that.
Yeah. So we stealthily approach the fortress, and we discover there's this huge dome in the fortress. And last time around, the dome was the important part, so we figured.
Did you cheese the dome?
The dome is much bigger than the other one. The other dome was like the size of like a house, or
Yeah, it was
a
like
few
40
houses.
by 60 feet or something like
But
that.
this dome is huge. It's like the size of a stadium, like a modern sports stadium. It's a huge, huge dome.
Yeah,
Is it wood?
it's probably stone.
Yeah.
So you can't cheese it.
Yeah, I can.
No, you can choose.
Oh, you can cheese stone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, worked material is all right. This is processed material. It's no good.
Okay.
So, we break into the dome from the back, and we find ourselves in an old abandoned laboratory.
Okay.
It's an alchemical laboratory, if I recall correctly. And we do some exploring. Actually, Cricket did the exploring. Everyone else, what were they doing in there?
I think they were messing around with those. They were searching that room for cool stuff.
Yeah. Cricket was a little more high level, like check out the whole place quickly. And they were intensively examining this old alchemical laboratory.
I think it was in that laboratory, not in the library, where they found, yes, they searched for interesting books, even in that laboratory. And that's where they found this book that Serendipity had heard of before, but like only in whispers, because it's like secret, ancient, arcane knowledge that's been lost. The book entitled The Scientific Method. And so they found this book, that was like, there was supposedly this ancient race called the Umpqua who had this thing that made them advance much more quickly in technology and science, but they kept to themselves, and it was called the scientific method. So she now has this book on the scientific method. And if you remember from history, the Umpqua were very advanced in science. They got killed in the magical apocalypse.
Who were the Umpqua though?
They were
the mole people.
secretive. They built underground bunkers to try to survive the apocalypse, the magical apocalypse, but they failed. And then later, people like revived their stuff as like ancient lost knowledge, and like they like have these weird, really crappy versions of them, like who like worship the ancient, not worship, but they follow the ancient ways as best they can, but all that knowledge has mostly been lost.
Huh. I don't remember these guys at all.
They didn't figure that big. They were mostly secret, but they were super advanced in science, but they kept it to themselves. So they had the secret knowledge, the scientific method. Yeah.
So she now has the book.
Yeah, she now has the book.
That's exciting.
So Cricket did a quick spin around the periphery of the building.
I should also mention the party doesn't know this, or no, I think they did kind of figure it out. They figured out they were the mole people from Crocus's story, because it was originally the Umpqua who seduced the obelisk away from the Oblin. Because he was like, "There's got to be something more than just like giving out the law."
Right.
And then they're like, "Check this out, scientific law," and he's like, "Ooh, yes, screw these guys."
Right.
So Cricket did a quick spin around the building, found more labs and some libraries and stuff. I can't remember, did we find anything of significance beyond? Because we did, I was just sort of trying to get the layout of the place and find all the concentrations of enemies. So I didn't look at the books all that much.
Yeah, there was some searching, some cool books were found, but they weren't described.
Yeah.
There was just a whole bunch of abandoned Umpqua libraries. Looked like they've been abandoned for hundreds, maybe thousands of years.
So we figured that the building was pretty empty. And then we went further into like the central cavity of the dome. And that's where we found the Destiny Prognostication. It's a huge orrery.
So it's basically the size of a stadium, giant orrery. That's like the planet's all spinning around, and it's all spinning. There's all these bright lights shining on the ceiling, and in the center, on a plinth, is a 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter perfect stone cube. Just sitting there.
Right. Presumably that's the obelisk.
Presumably. I'd always imagined the obelisk being a lot taller than it was wide.
This place is
More
great.
obelisk-y?
Yeah.
But it makes sense if it was made by the Oblin, it would be like
Yeah.
exactly symmetrical.
It's a D6.
I run by this place all the day, all the time in summer.
That's good.
You know what? It just strikes me as really funny that, like, we consider places abandoned even if there's, like, squatters or bandits. Like, you walk into this ancient library and you're like, abandoned by civilization. And then the people,
I live here.
The survivors are like, we live here. So majestic. Lost to civilization. We're still here.
And that's why we have to kill them. Their stuff. Because they're squatters.
Fuck off. Hey, we say we own this place. Oh, well, are you an Urquhart? No, but we live here.
Oh, and we also noticed those lights in the dome are actually stars. Like literal stars.
Oh, okay.
In this setting, stars are people, just like
God damn it,
Stardust.
Plato was right.
And so they're all stuck to the ceiling somehow.
No. There was some ancient Greek person who believed that the stars existed on a globe that surrounded the Earth.
Yes, that's definitely what
That's
this
how
place is
Spelljammer
going
came to
for.
be. Anyways, continue.
Yeah, that's definitely what this room is meant to set up. But I don't think the party actually knows this, but the players all know it from world building. That this is the Destiny Prognostication engine. This is the thing that lets him see the future perfectly
And the clock.
and see all possible futures.
And
So
how
it's
to
a
get
Mayan
there.
calendar also, kind of?
I mean, it's basically a thing that tells you all possible futures, and he's a computer that crunches them and finds the best one. At least that's what he's decided to do. 'Cause that wasn't what he was made for.
And figures out how to get there.
Or Cape I should say.
And turns out there's all these people in the way of the ideal future right now. So, what did we do that provoked the Guardian thing.
We basically just started walking toward the obelisk.
Yeah.
And grates opened in the floor, and platforms came up, and 3 Warforged Titans came up. Warforged Titans are huge. They're like the size of a house. They've got one arm is a giant, massive hammer, and the other is a big blade. Yes, that's right. And I don't know if he said that or if I just said it, but it looks like because he's been using a lot of programming terms throughout, referring to them as like legacy that needs to be expunged from
refactored.
Refactored. And it's like, all right, this has gotten out of hand. It's time to bring in the hammer fix. And then these 3 giant hammer Warforged come out and start fighting them.
Yeah. So violent
Is he
action
talking
ensues.
to? Is he talking to someone or?
I don't think the
obelisk?
obelisk has said anything throughout.
Yeah, I don't remember. I think I might have just said
Yeah,
that.
I think it was John that was.
But maybe they said. Maybe I had them say it.
It's like one of those Monster Hunter meals.
Like hammer fix.
So violent action ensues.
Right.
We get in a fight with these 3 Warforged Titans. I had 2 different powers that let me dominate. And since they're will attacks, I get to re-roll the attacks. And so I rolled and there was one other thing that let me re-roll as well. So I rolled 5 times to try and dominate this one Warforged Titan.
And?
Nope. I rolled terribly, and he has a really high will, so that was unfortunate. I wanted to get them beating on each other, but they didn't do that.
If you want to dominate somebody, you got to dress the part.
I'm a giant black cobra with horns.
Well, I mean, it's. Were you wearing leather armor?
Point
Yes.
to Brian.
Yes.
Okay, getting there.
Shadow Flow star leather armor.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, pretty high class.
It's
I
like darkness made manifest.
even better. Exotic proficiency whip.
I had considered that. I actually had proficiency Bola for a while,
Well, there's your problem.
but I ditched it after a while because I wanted to find ways that we could capture foes because we were facing people with pain slaves.
I'm sorry, the peanut gallery has taken over the show.
And the Bola was the best I could find. I considered whips. However, I would not be able to effectively wield a whip now because no arms.
Damn.
But your tail basically is a whip. You
That's
basically
true.
are a giant living whip.
That's true. I am a whip. I actually considered the appearance of Cricket's armor is probably like a bullwhip. You know, it's got all the
Yeah.
crisscrossing straps of leather. Yeah. Yeah, there we go.
Anyway,
Uh-huh.
so hammer time did not happen.
Not hammer
Yeah.
on hammer action. It was.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
cross hammering.
I'm trying to remember. It's a couple of weeks now that it's been since we did that, so I'm trying to remember some of the details
Well,
of the
the
fight.
biggest thing was I had actually balanced this fight because you guys were like totally out of powers and dailies and totally exhausted, and you didn't have time to rest because you only had about 6 hours or like 4 hours before time. It's time travel campaign before time would catch up, and then the obelisk would be able to use the Destiny prognostication engine to predict your every move. So they couldn't take an extended rest because they didn't have time. But then Gerard pulls out this druid thing, and it's like, look, I've got this druid thing. Cast a spell in the wilderness, and you can sleep in 2 hours.
That's so tense and exciting. Awesome.
Yep.
And so, yeah, they got all
we
their
got-
powers back. But don't worry, they'll pay for it. I didn't mind too much because it's like kind of a thing that like Robin really wants Gerard to be able to use his druid powers for something, and it's never useful ever. So,
Fourth edition.
yeah.
See, yeah. My experience was wizards who make prismatic disco balls of pain, and then it's like everybody dance now within 6 tile radius around me. Glad to hear you guys are having a great time. I love it.
Our area control expert is Croesus.
He makes a kitchen.
Yes, he calls it his kitchen.
It's a lot of flavor.
What is it? Shattered Time is what it's called.
It's called Shadow Time.
Yeah.
But the first time he used it was in a kitchen, and he didn't. His character idea is that like he's like this creature of pure law, but with PTSD, and so he's really messed up, and stuff is going. All this chaos energy keeps coming out of him. So he doesn't really understand his powers or why they happen. And so the first time they happened to him, he was like, "What's going on?" And it was in the kitchen. So now he just calls it his kitchen.
The Reaper rate of this spell is terrible.
But yeah. Anyway, they I don't. Yeah, the fight they took the fight to those Titans pretty fast because they were all at full. They were saving some of their powers, but
I think Serendipity got hammered pretty hard at one point.
they do hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
So it's been too long since we had the session. I don't
Yeah.
remember all the details, but I do remember some satisfaction in significantly damaging a lot of players with the hammer, and like with the slicing.
When you get a buff too.
The hammer, so the slice does massive damage. The hammer does really good damage, and it knocks you back. And so there were some satisfying things where
They've got threatening reach too.
yes, they've got threatening reach, and so what happens is, like, your character charges onto them, like, "Oh, I'm gonna hit you," and before you can hit them, they get an attack of opportunity, hammer you, bam, hammer you back, and if you can keep going if you have enough movement, but
Right.
like
But
a
if you
couple
get knocked
first
down,
times, it
or-
was
yeah.
like Hank could just reach him, and I bam knocked you back, and nope, can't reach now. You wasted your turn.
Yeah.
Into the pit. I'm sorry, I'm doing a different campaign.
Well, I've been finding that like it's been very hard to challenge this party as it's gotten high level, so
Yeah.
I'm just like,
You know what? You just can't challenge high level parties, or they're just dead in one hit.
yeah, that's
They're
true.
they're winning or they're dead.
Yeah. And this is, I mean, we're basically coming to the end of the campaign, so I want to pull out all the stops and make it challenging, but you don't want to kill them. I consider, as the GM, I consider the GM's victory, you don't want the party to lose, because your goal is to make them have fun. But you win if they win the fight with 1 hit point left.
Desperate struggle.
That's the one.
The
That's
desperate
GM's
struggle.
victory.
The
And
fight, the fight with Corbland was much like that because at the end of it,
Oh,
there
yeah, you
we were like, okay, this next round coming up that we have our actions in, either we kill Corbland in that round
Right.
or we die.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
that's it.
There were so many
Yeah,
undead.
we could have the actions. I mean, we had the ability to run away, or we had the ability to try and kill Corbland. And if we tried and failed, then we would die because we wouldn't be able to run away. Well, I mean, Cricket would be all right.
Right. She'd come back.
Yeah. And I'd have to go and get a whole new party and get some 500 gold piece adventurers, give them a MacGuffin.
Lie to them about what the MacGuffin is.
Yeah, raise them up to.
What a tale. What a tale.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where things currently stand. Is we're fighting those guys.
We didn't quite finish the fight, but they were crushing them pretty good.
They're on the ropes. And then we'll see what it is that John has prepared for us.
I have some things up my sleeve still, so.
We're going to fight the dreaded cube.
Yeah, I actually love that image. They're like, we've been fighting this whole time. We're getting there to get to the big bad, and it's like it's a small cube on a plinth, just sitting there.
Were you referencing the most amazing polygonal 3D game of all time?
Yes.
Yes, and the dreaded cone.
Have you seen Cube?
I have not.
going to.
There's the thing when we get back.
Yep.